I often have chats with people across the pond in America, and they say things like, "You're all nuts in the UK." I mean, we are. We know we are. Um, but people are nuts everywhere. But they say we're nuts because we don't take the country back when it's attacked. And I say to you, well, did you take the country back when you were attacked? How did that go? And they go, oh, but it was different. We've got the Second Amendment and we've also got free speech. I went on radio back in the 90s and I said we needed a constitution like America. And I argued that we needed like amendments and things that that laid out a foundation for governing a country effectively by the people for the people. And apparently the guy's board lit up like a Christmas tree when I'd finished. Was his exact words. Unfortunately, I'd got on at the end of the program, so we never got to discuss it. But he was one of these shock jocks, and I got him with a couple of questions at the beginning, and then he shut up. 10 minutes straight, I talked, and I've repeated myself. It was scripted, not like it is here. I'd actually written a few things down, and I said all the things that I needed to say. I kind of wished I'd kept that bit of paper, really, but it basically, it based itself. A lot of it was on the American Constitution, but to me, it was an improved version because you have flaws in that, and you can tell that. But we have a total, and one of the things that I would say, give me an example. In my life, I've probably been stopped about 3 times, which is about once every 20 years by the police. And they've said, is this your vehicle? The usual stuff. Yes, I told them what my name was, where I lived, everything else, and nothing to hide. Yeah, come on in, sit in, we have a chat. And they came in, they sat down and showed me my driver's license and everything else. And they said, oh, and on one of them, I was wearing my uniform. And he said, oh, yeah, we'll get you on your way. It'll just be a minute. And he took me details and he come back. And he says, there you go. Have a nice evening. Thank you very much, officer. And off he went. And I would imagine that's how every civilized conversation would go in the world. But when you have an amendment that says you can actually keep your mouth shut, and but bear in mind, I don't have a problem with those. I have a problem with the lawyers. And I've always had a problem with lawyers because I blame lawyers for everything. I think they have destroyed society. They've certainly destroyed civilized society. I am at great odds to imagine what lawyers actually do for us because I'm pretty sure we could survive without them. And this is the problem that I think we have. So when you have a really good constitution, but you say we can protect ourselves from the government, we have bang bangs and things that we can use, and I go, when's the last time you used them? Because you didn't. You think you have, but you haven't. You haven't had a completely totalitarian government. And where do you have them? I would say, I've already mentioned Gavin Newsom before. The guy's a complete nut job. But look at what he's done to that beautiful state of California just a few years ago. 20 years ago. I'd have loved to have gone there. I always wanted to go and see the Grand Canyon in Texas. I want to see my dad to take him to the Grand Canyon in Texas. He used to love westerns and everything else. And I loved that kind of American thing. And he never got there. Obviously, he's passed away now. And I look at it now and I think, why did I want to go there? Because America is a beautiful country. It has some of the most fantastic people in it. Very welcoming, very warm. And when I was a kid, every time I used to hear people say Americans are nuts, because they do. Americans always say we're eccentric and we drink tea a lot. Well, yes, we do drink tea a lot, actually. I probably drink about 20 cups a day or something. But I don't drink Coke very often and stuff like that, and I wouldn't thank you for it. And I think I've had 2 beef burgers in the whole of my life. I had one about 2 months ago from McDonald's, just to see what they were like, and I didn't finish it. I didn't finish the first one. So I don't see what the fascination with all that sort of crap is. But, each to their own. If that's what you want to eat, then fine, knock yourself out. I don't have a problem if you want to eat them. There's plenty of people over here who eat them. I just don't see it myself. However, as I was saying before about America, Yeah, love America. But every time we used to say Americans are nuts, they're mad. And the thing that put me off America was all the mad Americans. I subsequently came to discover that all the mad Americans are Democrats. Because all the decent Americans, all the home loving, all these lovely housewifey types that you see, they're all Republicans. And they are lovely, warm, welcoming people. And all the southern ones that will give you the nicest welcome ever going. And if you're a nasty piece of work, hopefully they'll use the bang bangs. And I think, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I could live there. That sounds good. But in Britain, we don't have that. We can't protect ourselves. A strongly worded letter to the BBC, I believe, used to be the order of the day. And why would you now write a strongly worded letter to a paedophile loving organisation? Well, you wouldn't, would you? Why would you even bother writing one to a brain dead imbecile who's in charge of the country? That applies to several places in the world: Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Britain. You know who you've got in America, replaced with a giggling one now. I mean, Texas has just got rid of 1 million duff voters from its system, ones that should never have been on there, or should have been removed. 1 million just for Texas. So think of the other states and imagine how many you could remove from them. I actually think there was probably about 24 people voted for Biden, and that was about it. Everyone else was probably all these fake voters. I mean, they were going stuffing ballot boxes with votes, like literally within 20 minutes they go up 20,000. It's impossible. It's just impossible. I'm kind of questioning the UK now, because yeah, okay, we count them, and we have a system where we literally count them overnight, and sometimes they come in within hours, and there's loads of people all sitting in halls and all counting them, and people watching those people. When I saw all the stuff that was going on in America, it was so obvious that it was utterly corrupt, and you think, you're supposed to be the land of the free. You are the land of the controlled. We are the land of the controlled now, but it's become blatantly obvious due to all the things that's been happening. Very recently, we've always been controlled, but we've gone along with it. We are governed by consent, as I've said before. But now that consent is being tested. What can we do in Britain? Not a lot. But really, what can you do in America? You may have all these things to stop you from getting overrun by a tyrannical government. You're already getting them removed very slowly, one at a time, go like archipelago style. And pretty soon, you'll be getting dragged off. I remember AOC, when they got into power, the first thing she said was they need to be locking up Republicans and putting them into concentration camps in effect. That's virtually, not word for word, but that is actually what she said, and very, very quickly that was removed. But I remember saying words to those effects. When these people get power, they use it. When Republicans get power, everyone benefits. But when you have nasty, nasty lefty nutjobs getting power, they abuse it. And it takes a Republican, it takes a Tory to get the balance back. And that is not enough. But when the right get too much power, you end up with kind of Hitler in effect. But that's an extreme version. That's just one version. There's plenty of times when people on the right had power and it didn't end up with anything like that at all. But that's the one that they always wheel out. But look at the left in power. China? Russia? Do you think that's running so well? Of course it isn't. But the left love being left until you point out that all the people on the left are tyrannical. And then they go, oh, but that's not the left that we had in mind. Well, fun enough, the right wasn't Hitler. We didn't have that in mind. But it only ever works one way, doesn't it? Like I say, each side views the other side with suspicion. But the moment you manage to sit down with any of these people, they all end up on the right. They don't go further left, they go further right. And the people on the right, to a degree, actually move further left because we all kind of want to get it on together. I was talking to a guy from Bulgaria yesterday. It was about a 3 hour conversation I had with him, and we put the world to rights, and it was a very, very interesting conversation. But one of the things that he'd said on it, he says, I was at the beach the other day with my family, and on the beach there were Russians and Ukrainians all mixing together, all having a great time, because he lived kind of in between those. And I said, isn't that strange that like we're all getting like a house on fire, and the politicians don't? Well, isn't that strange? Because it's the politicians that are dividing us now.